Thank you guys for the support. Like and subscribe at the Ludex app, at Coach Doug's on YouTube, and let's get into the hit talking. Let's talk about Hasbulla. You know, Hasbulla has taken the hobby by storm. His cards have sold for Gold Shimmer out of 3 has sold for 25K. That was like mid-April, like right around the release. And then his latest card, which was a gold auto out of 10, sold for just above $12,000, I think, last week. It's taken everything by storm. It's blowing popular athlete sales out of the water. So it's like, what is there? Would you rather have a Hasbulla card or say, like for you, Doug's, a Trevor Lawrence out of 3 gold shimmer or something like that?
Yeah, and I'll take the Trevor Lawrence just because that's how big of a Jaguars fan I am. I know how irrational that may seem to anybody who is not from the 904, but Hasbulla, I mean, he's just a freak of social media nature. He started out he was like, a little guy, not to, but he was a little personality, but he's just blown up. I mean, I remember Caleb did a Sunday conversation with him. He's actually very funny. If you see any videos on him outside of him just, running around hitting people, he's very funny. He knows what he's talking about as far as like business. That's what he wants to do. He's like, I think 19, 20 years old now. Everybody thinks like he's a little kid. No, he's almost an adult, like a full grown adult, mentally. But he really has taken social media by storm because it doesn't, even though he started in the UFC market and that's where his cards are, I think anybody on social media knows about him.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like, it's cool that it's in the UFC brand and it's not like just like a regular like celebrity card where they do. I can't even like remember what the celebrity like cards names are, but like
Pop
it's cool
Century.
that it's yeah, exactly. And so it's cool that it's in the UFC brand. Brock, I love Hasbulla. Brock,
We're Hasbulla boys. Listen,
yeah,
we're biased.
Hasbulla boys.
We'll get in front of it. That's our boy. We love him. I also think it's good for the hobby, and I also think it's good for the Prism product itself. I can understand, right, like looking at a Hasbulla card selling for more than like a Michael Jordan rookie. That is insane. But I do think the fact that it's even in the news and there's this kind of pop culture crossover, it benefits everyone. Now, guys who actually collect like us, like it is silly and kind of like potentially for some people frustrating, but I like it. I think it's fun. I think it keeps things interesting. What I was trying to think of, and I don't know if there is an example, like for football or basketball, the other sport, is there any other like option for a person like that? Like for basketball, the only thing that came to my mind would be like Spike Lee or like a fan who's always there that people would want.
Yeah, you could have Spike Lee would be you could have, and I believe they have a set, or at least it inserts within a set, fans of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mark Wahlberg for Patriots, and with basketball you could do Spike Lee for the Knicks, Jack Nicklaus for for the Lakers. So there's definitely like that. But I feel like this is a whole nother level because like those fans of the game, those are already celebrities that just happen to be big fans of these teams. Hasbulla is just his own personality. And I understand if you want to collect cards from the set that he's in, I can see how that might be frustrating because people are going to be chasing him, which is going to bump up the prices of those boxes or the unsealed packs. But you got to think it's completely different in the sense that he is big on his own. And it's nice to see it in the UFC package. It's a good job on them and Panini to actually put him inside the set. And like you said, it's not just a one-off Pop Century card where like, hey, here's this actor and here's their card.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because it's like you got to think like all the talent in the UFC, all the superstars that are in the UFC, and literally everybody's buying the box to chase Hasbulla.
Yeah.
So it just shows you his star power, which I like. I personally, I would love to pull a Hasbulla autograph or a serial numbered Hasbulla. I would be pumped.
It's a culture thing. It's now, and it's the reason I collect some phone cards or calling cards. It's not only is it an Andre the Giant card, but it's like a phone card from Japan in like 1994.
Yeah.
And like it's just if you try and tell a kid 20 years from now, like, oh, this is a card you would have to buy in order to. There's minutes on the card. Like, What are you talking about? And so it's timely in that sense too. And with Hasbulla, obviously, with any, when you're talking about athletes, like, oh, if this fighter gets injured or if they lose a fight and they don't come back for another year, the same kind of thing outside the ring can happen to Hasbulla as well. He's had a few issues there. There was a video where he was disciplining his cat because the cat was trying to eat. It was Ramadan. The cat was trying to eat during the day. You can't do that. And I believe I'm saying that right. And so, he got a little, there were some Twitter fingers going on about that, but he pushed through. And so, yeah, we'll see if that has any impact on the cards later on too.
Yeah, it's funny because now that you were just talking about the phone cards, like imagine because my dad had cards and he kept the cards since he was a kid, and he would Mickey Mantle's from the mid '60s, Reggie Jackson rookie cards, Nolan Ryan rookie cards. Imagine us going to our kids and being like, "Look at this," and it's just a Hasbulla autograph, and your kid's like, "What is this?" And you're like, "It's a long story."
You had to be there.
Yeah, you're telling me this guy fought in the UFC? No, not at all.
No.
It's a big brain Uncle Dana move. That's really what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
On the other hand, also that's kind of in a weird, which I still don't understand, is the Monopoly prisms. So we had a post on Ludex, on the Ludex Instagram account, that a Monopoly Man SSP prism card sold just $10 more than a PSA 3 4th year Mickey Mantle card.
Yeah.
And it's that blows my mind. I get that it's an SSP, but I get Hasbulla, I don't get Mr. Monopoly.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's one of those things like when people post on eBay and they're like, "Oh, this is a very rare card." It's just because it's rare doesn't mean it's valuable. Just because it's a super short print doesn't mean it's valuable. I'm out. I think we might have talked about this before. The whole Monopoly thing, it seems like a money grab, which I'm all for in that sense, but it is silly. If people are saying this is his rookie card though, so that you got to take that into account. But it's his rookie card from what? Just a random set. It's the same. I don't know. I look at it as the same way as you have the and I think Donruss brought it back this year. You have the Santa Claus card, the Santa Claus downtown. That was going for a good amount of money as well. I think maybe $1,500.
Yeah, it was
when that set first came out. It's just one of those things where it's, I don't know. Listen, if you get a few rich guys into a room together that want the same thing, anything can go for whatever price you set.
That's true.
I have an interesting take on this.
Go.
Unless you're going to say something, Evan.
No, I don't understand it whatsoever. I have zero takes. I look at it and I'm just huh?
Okay. It is mind-boggling. It is confusing, but I think this is the context I want to put it in. So given the Hasbulla thing we just talked about, this is kind of probably be a fad, right? Unless you're a PC collector, that's probably not going to last that long because of his social media build. Monopoly. How long has Monopoly been around for?
100 years.
Long time. I don't know. Long time.
I think it came out after the Depression, right?
That would kind of be fitting. We need money.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie, how about you pull those numbers up?
Yeah. We'll get our guy on it. Jamie does Rogan first, then us.
Yeah.
Where I'm getting at that is I think long term, and again, these don't match up equally, but the SSP of the Monopoly Man would have a broader value and hold it longer term because of the association with the collectability of the Monopoly stuff. That, in my mind, makes it more collectible and more attractive because it's on the collectible side.
I think that would be true. I understand the mindset behind that, and I think that would be true if it was a Monopoly set, if they were actually Monopoly cards, just Monopoly cards that Hasbro came out with, and they were 50 or 60 years ago, those cards. I think the fact that it's I'm assuming it's an insert. It's like an insert in a derivative of an already set. It's already a set of basketball cards, and so it's got the RC logo on it. It's his rookie card and everything. If they were actual Monopoly cards, like a Monopoly set, I would say yes. But because they're it's like within a set already. And so yeah.
I feel you. I mean, it's weird, right? Like it is weird. It's all weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking about cardboard pictures,
Yeah.
Yep. So
With
with
little men this
Hasbulla, Mr. Monopoly, all these weird characters, personalities in cards, is there a celebrity, a personality, a character that you would take in a card form over whatever your PEC is, whether that be Justin Fields for Brock, Trevor Lawrence for Doug's? Is there somebody that like pop culture personality, somebody you would like, okay, I would take that. If I had $100 and there's 2 cards side by side.
You want to go first?
Yeah, no, you go, Doug.
All right. Well, yeah, no, he's not alive anymore. I'm going to stick with the unit theme. That's who I mainly collect. I collect big guys. If there was a John Candy card, especially John Candy was part of, or it might have been the main owner of the Toronto Argonauts. And so it would have been, if there was an owner card, which I know, some other sets have, if there was a Toronto Argonauts CFL owner card of John Candy, if I have just like $100 and I'm looking at like that and $100 Trevor Lawrence card,
yeah.
If the John Candy card, especially if it was signed, it would be no question. But cultural wise, John Candy has been such a significant impact on me growing up and loving comedy and loving movies. I would have to go with that. If a John Candy Toronto Argonauts owner card existed, I would go with that.
That's a deep cut. That would be sweet.
Yeah, that is. I don't have one. I don't have one. I think I don't see a world where I'm not picking my favorite player, to be quite honest with you.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you wouldn't have one.
Yeah, there's not one person.
So what I'm having a tough time with is when I think of a person, like let's say like a comedian, right? Like, I don't know, Shane Gillis or someone like that. They generally like sign a Leaf card. So then in my brain, like that's kind of tainting the glory of it all. So then I'm comparing like a really cool Justin Field card to like a Leaf, Shane Gillis. I'm having a hard time conceptualizing the celebrity card being cooler than the athlete card.
That totally makes sense. I see the Pop Century cards and I'm like, whatever. I even think like, okay, so when they have like the Game of Thrones cards, where it's the actual character and then the actor signed it. I know they do that with like the Star Wars sets. The actor will sign the cards. Those are cool. Those are definitely, I think, cooler than the Pop Century cards. But at the same time, I think, my example of being, because it's also football related. I think if it was just a random John Candy Pop Century card, I probably wouldn't care too much about it. I think it was that connection to like, oh, he's a owner of a football team, which is something I've always wanted, since I was a kid, I've always wanted to own the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know, just something about, and my current life goal is to own a minor league baseball team in some capacity. But I think that sports relation to it made a difference for me, but I see where you're coming from.
All right. If it has to be one person, and I'm going to make the card because now I'm thinking about it. It's David Goggins, and this isn't to be a hardo. I just think he's awesome and cool. And it'd be like, I don't know, a piece of his shirt or a piece of his shorts, maybe even a callus. This might paint a very different picture of what I actually am, but David Goggins still.
Nice.
Thanks.
That would be
a piece of a shirt from like something he wore for 100 days in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like a scratch and sniff rookie card.
Yeah. Or a card that he screams at you or something. I don't know.
It's for me, it's tough. So I thought about this as I was thinking about the question. I was like, for me, a no-brainer. It's Chris Farley. I love Chris Farley, and I have this weird connection with Chris Farley that it's one day I'll tell you the story off air, Doug's. But I have a poster of a movie poster from Beverly Hills Ninja, and it's autographed by him, and it says, "Evan, stay cool, Chris Farley." That's and there's a chance it was the last autograph he's ever signed. So it's that. I will take that over literally anything ever. To me, that's priceless. And if it was in card form, I'd do the same thing. I would take it and I'd be like, this over Justin Fields, this over fucking Mickey Mantle. That for me, that's my holy grail that I have, and it's in my room.
That's awesome. And I think that goes to it too, where it's it's not just a Chris Farley card or poster. It's no, it's Chris Farley and Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Which is like, it's not one of his most popular movies, but if you haven't seen Beverly Hills Ninja, do yourself a favor and watch it because it's hilarious.
It's really good.
Hit a nice little bet last night, thanks to Big Cat. I say it's nice because your units are very similar to my units as well as Brock's. $5, win 50. Can't beat that.
Yeah.
So that brings in a question that I thought when I saw you tweet that. Strategy behind gambling. Like, do you like when you're building parlays, is there a certain strategy? Do you check recent games? Do you check recent stats, or you just go with your heart?
It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. A lot of times, gambling is for entertainment only, and so I don't want to put too much work into it because then I feel like it's not entertaining if I'm having to put a lot of work into it. I'll leave that up to Stephen. Here's the thing. Stephen Che is the data analyst guy. He gets off on that. That's what he loves to do, and so it's like that's joy for him, like looking at numbers all day. And so for him, that's fun. That's entertainment, just doing all the data. I'm not that kind of guy. I go with my hunch. I go with my feelings because then when it doesn't hit, it's like, hey, whatever. It's not like I really looked into it. And then when it does hit, I can say, hey, listen, my intuition is amazing. It's win-win either way.
Smart.
Brock?
I'm dumb. I'm a bad gambler, so we'll start there. I'm a $5 increment guy. I stick in fives. I'll get to that because we have a recent development. We have a new number we're rolling with that worked.
What is it? What's the new number?
The number is 8. Okay. The number's always been 8, but I just have neglected that. And for whatever reason, last night I'm betting, I go, 8's one of my favorite numbers. I'm like, why? For whatever reason, I'm using, like, they give you, right, increments of 5, 10, 25, 40. For whatever reason, I feel like I have to comply with that. So I said, screw that. Freedom, baby. We're doing $8. And guess what? We hit last night. So yeah, I agree with you, Dougs. I think potentially I tend to overthink things. And we'll look at the statistics and we'll flip-flop and screw myself over. So I feel like the best recipe and the most fun is just do it fast and go with your heart and get it in.
Yeah.
What about you, Ev?
By no means am I a numbers guy or an analytics guy. This brain up here, no. But I do like to check stats, like especially like in playoff games. I will go back 3 or 4 games and I'll check stats and I'll find like a happy area where it's like, oh, LeBron, it's literally has 9 rebounds every single game for the past 6 games. I'm going over 8.5. Like that's where my brain's at. Like I'll tip it just enough to where it's like a good solid line. But I do go with my gut a lot too. Like I have certain players I bet on. Like I'm not going to veer off and like put a bunch of money on D'Angelo Russell or something when I normally just stick with LeBron and Anthony Davis or something like that.
And Dougs, do you go to other sports? Because I feel like another thing, like we have friends who bet on anything and everything, whether they know it or not. I feel like I really stick to, and I feel like, Evan, you're kind of the same way. The teams, players I know, and the sport I know. Are you similar, Dougs?
For the most part, I will stick with what I think I know because I won't say that I know it. I lose too many bets to say I know it, but I'll stick with what I think I know. And I just have to trust my coworkers. I have to trust the guys around me in the office that they know what they're talking about. Most of the time they don't, but I still have faith in them that this might be the one. So that's why I use on the Barstool Sportsbook app, the exclusives. You can bet with them. I mean, that's been Big Cat's last couple bets and a few other ones where I go to that exclusives tab and I look for, okay, I'm betting with Big Cat today. I'm betting with Hank today. And I ride with my boys.
I like that.
Speaking of riding with your boys, this is a bad habit that I do. I don't show my friends my bets. Like they'll ask to see it. Like I'll like win a few in a row and they'll be like, okay, can we see the slip? And I have I am so superstitious. I'm so bad with it. Sometimes I'll send in a group text like, hey, look at this line, like 5 to win $4,000. Like, could you imagine if we all hit this together thanks to me? But when it's like 5 to win like 100, and I'm more like a little bit more serious about it, I have terrible superstition. And Brock and everybody else, all my friends out there, I'm sorry.
I have a take, kind of, and this is based on my brother. So if you're listening, this is kind of you. Hearing about the Discord lines through someone who's in the Discord group, and then they give it to you. From my experience, other than like maybe one person, flops, fails. That's a red flag to me. If someone is like, "Yo, everyone in the group is talking about this," I'm avoiding those Discord groups. Clearly work to some degree, but I don't know. From my experience, that doesn't work.
At a certain point, you have to think about, like, okay, this is probably a bunch of people just like me. They're dumb. They don't know what they're talking about, and it can be a vicious cycle where they get in each other's heads, and it's just like any other topic.
Yep.
You get a bunch of guys, and they all start agreeing with each other. They all start thinking the same way, and then you got a bunch of dummies not winning any bets.
Yeah, like once you start paying for Discord bets, that's when it becomes stressful and not entertaining and not fun. That's when it's like, let's not pay for Discord bets, because like you said, Doug, it's us three times 300. There's no experts in there. It's just guys who like sports and watch sports with their friends.
Exactly. And everybody thinks they have a take. Everybody thinks that they see something that nobody else is seeing. And listen, the only reason I know this is because I'm one of those people. So this isn't even me bashing anybody. I'm one of you. I'm one of them. Like, we're all stupid. We're all dumb. We're just trying to have fun. And that's right. What it's about.
Do you have any superstitions, Doug, like when it comes to betting, like at all, like showing your friends or?
No, not really. I'm so open about it. Even, I mean, like I said, the random Twitter trolls here or there will, comment on, like, oh, nice, $10 bet, a nice $5 troll, commented like, oh, enjoy your, small popcorn and soda. And I just tweeted back at him the super bad GIF. I will enjoy it. Because it's like, listen, buddy, I'm not going to increase my bet amount because I think somebody online might think negatively of me.
Right. And that's why we love talking to you, Doug, because you're one of us.
The man of the people. I have one question.
More trolls than we do.
Because I feel like we differ in this way, and I want to know Doug's take. So, for instance, I won $115. Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
What a nice brag, dude.
Yeah. As soon as that happens, I rip it out of my account. I'll leave 5 in, but I'm out. Like, as if it's going to go away. When you guys win, are you keeping it in the account? Are you pulling it? What's the thought there?
Let it ride.
Same with him.
I don't think I've withdrawn any money from my wallet, my Barstool Sportsbook wallet, maybe in like a year and a half. Now I've only deposited maybe like $200 or $300.
Now that's
like outside of random bets here and there. Like, I just put a future bet on FSU to win the national title this year. It was like plus 2,000, or I think plus 2,000. And so I put $100 on it. Outside of those random $100 bets or like overs clubs bets, I'm only doing $5 or $10 here and there. And so I might have spent a few $100s this year on gambling. And like I said, it's entertainment. When I put the money in the wallet, I have no expectation that money will ever come back out.
Ev?
I'm you, Doug's, but I'm also Brock, like 50-50. So it depends on how much money is won, and it depends on if, for example, we went on a golf trip in February or March, whenever it was, and I knew we were going on the trip, and I hit a couple bets. I take out the money, and I was like, this money will be used to buy a round of golf. Nice. And if I put utility behind the money that I win, then I'm taking it out. But also I do this thing in my brain where it's like, if I win a bet over $300, I'm doing $100 parlay the next time I bet. And that has never succeeded once in my life, but I'm still going to do it because resiliency.
Why not?
One of them is going to hit.
It's house money.
Yeah.
You're not losing that $100.
Exactly.
That $100 is never yours.
Right.
Exactly.
It's the money tree.
If you really love it, you got to set it up to a parlay and let it free,
Yeah, exactly. I think I hit a parlay earlier in the NBA playoffs, and I won $350, which was awesome. That's great. I'm very happy. I took out 250. I left 100 in there, and I was like, I'm going to make a 7-leg parlay, $100, see if I can like really hit it big. And I think I might have hit 2 legs of that parlay. So, but guess what? If I do win another bet on that amount of money, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we don't learn from our mistakes. We're doing it again. And I look at the bright side on that. I would be okay with 2 legs hitting. I would not be okay with 6 of the 7 legs hitting.
Yeah, that's
okay.
If it's going to lose, be in the middle. Be in the middle. At least I can say I got half right. You also run the same risk of being 1 of 7 is the same as 6 of 7. It's like, dang, if I would have just been completely on the other side of everything I thought, I almost hit it.
Yeah,
I agree.
And that's the beauty on making parlays.
There's a couple lessons in this for like new people, and some of this also is like Jerry put out a tweet that he got all this collection and he wanted to get out of it, which is I think a very common story for people who kind of got back into it during COVID, right? Super trending. Everyone, cards were in your face everywhere. Naturally, you want to get involved. And what a lot of people learned, and I learned this myself, is just because you think something is cool and you paid $100 for it, doesn't mean the next guy thinks it's $100 and it's that cool. So you need to know, like, as new collectors, you need to keep that in your head, right? Just because you paid something and you're seeing those transactions happening, someone's got to pay for that card. So that's like, not everything is just this like turn and burn, like you're going to get your money right back. There is some of that. There is an investment side to it, but I think the real lesson here is if you're going to get a card, really like it and don't expect it as like a parlay in this instance. Like, don't hold on to this as an investment unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I don't think many people know what they're doing, if any. Again, because we're talking about you're not just betting like when you buy into a card. If you are doing it as an investment, you're not just betting that player is going to be really good. Because if the card price is high right now because there's all the speculation on them, that player can do the best things. They can win all the awards. But if everybody already expected that of them, the card price might not even go up. And it is one thing. It's not really a pet peeve of mine, but just something it registers in my head differently when I see all the vlogs at the card shows and somebody says like, "Oh, no, I can't sell that card for this. I'm into it for this amount." It's like, okay, well, what you paid for it doesn't matter. Like, how does that doesn't mean anything? Right. And so that's always something, again, not really a pet peeve, but just something that clicks in my head. It's like, you saying you paid a certain amount of a card for a card has no bearing on what that card is worth now.
Yeah, that doesn't affect the market value of that card right now.
No.
Yeah, and that sentiment is kind of, look, you have every right to do whatever you want, but that sentiment of like the that becoming a trend, we're starting to see it more. And I think it's kind of an issue, right? Is like, that's not the value of it. And I get if you lost money on it and you have every right to not sell it to me, but I think kind of having this, like, you need to match me here because that's what it's worth is part of the issue with new collectors coming in because they're getting duped.
Yeah. And it's a whole mindset thing. It's an issue of people having not bad, but just the wrong expectations. Mm-hmm. And that's all. It's a mindset issue, and so that's what we need to work on.
Yeah, I agree.
Well said.
With the collections, as we're talking about, inheriting collections, all that stuff, just nostalgia in general. Doug, how did you get into collecting, and when was it, do you think?
So I had a whole bunch of baseball cards growing up. That was something I enjoyed, opening the packs and putting them in the 9 card sleeves in my binders. And then when Pokemon came around, I was kind of playing the video game, but then other kids in the class were like trading bead drills for Psyducks, and I'm like, what's going on here? So I got into that, and then I got into Yu-Gi-Oh. I think it's definitely my brain. Like every 6 months, I want something new. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure it's some mental problem that I have, but like every 6 months, it's like, oh, this is new. I want to learn everything about this. So I went from sports to Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh. In the early 2000s, like 2001, I started collecting the Harry Potter TCG. I don't even know many people if they know about that or not, but it had like 4 or 5 expansion sets. I'm missing just like 3 or 4 cards from the last expansion set. Other than that, I have the entire collection of Harry Potter TCG. And then going to Jaguars games, they sold from like I think it was like 2004 maybe. They sold the Topps cards like in the stadium. So I was at the Jaguar game opening up these Topps cards, and I got out of it maybe for 10 years or so, from like I don't know, maybe 14 to 24. And then it's just something, I was 24, 25 years old. I had a little bit of money and, started just keeping up with cards. I still don't. I never really have a big collection or anything. They're just certain random things that I liked and kept along the way. And when I got hired at Barstool, it was kind of like, hey, what do you want to do here? And I'm like, well, this is what I'm interested in. And this is what I keep up with. And going back to just like how Stephen Shea loves looking at numbers, I like looking at baseball cards and sports cards. And so I just kind of like, all right, well, I already, keep up with it. I'll just do content around it too.
Yeah, it's great.
That's cool. That is cool.
That's a fun fact about the Harry Potter. I didn't even know that existed. And who knew Coach Doug's was such a big Harry Potter guy?
Yeah.
We actually go ahead. Sorry, Doug.
No. It's random. I don't like, I've tweeted it a couple times to Lou from 137 Car Talking Pod. And it's random. So I don't even bring it up that often. It's just,
right.
You know who collects this too? We know one other guy. I don't know if he has it at your level, but there's a guy out there at TV Sports Cards, Tommy Vaughn, has been known to pick up some Harry Potter cards. So
yeah,
we'll do some intel. Yeah, he's the type of guy who like finds all these weird novelty cards in dollar bins. So
he's the one who has the
Earth relic.
And used to work with us. He has the Earth relic from the Lewis and Clark Trail.
Nice. That checks out. Checks out.
Let's check
out. Brock, what is your collector's origin story?
Pokemon, really. Pokemon and opening basketball packs. Like we grew up in the 2000 Kobe, Vince Carter, Allen Iverson era. So yeah, just opening those packs, collecting Pokemon, and then I played a little Magic as well. But I've always, dude, I love cards. Like I'm a child when it comes to it. If a pack's around me, I'm opening it, and that's kind of how I got started. What about you?
You do have a deep love for cards.
I do.
Actually,
I love cards.
Sickening.
Pisses me off.
So my dad was a collector, not like a major collector, but he was a kid who loved sports. And I come from a Polish family. So if you know anything about old Polish people, they will never throw anything out, and it's just in their basement forever. So my dad had, when I was a kid, he had this lockbox filled with, a few Nolan Ryan rookie cards, a few Reggie Jackson rookie cards, other ones like Rick Barry, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And he would always show me the Nolan Ryan rookie card and say, this is going to pay for your college when you grow up. This is going to pay for your college when you grow up. And I was just like, what? Like, first of all, what's college? Second of all, that seems like it's pretty valuable. So like that, like got me thinking. I was like, okay, this is cool. Then Pokemon came out, like you guys, everybody started playing the video games. Everybody, like me and my cousin would get up at 5 a.m. and watch a Pokemon TV show every single morning before school. So like started collecting that way. And then I really did love Pokemon. Like when I think about like what I collected as a kid, like it was definitely more Pokemon. And like Brock, you would rip packs and like you would buy like athletes of our time, like when we were younger. Like, so you had like LeBron rookie, you had, Kobe, Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson. I would have either Pokemon cards or anybody who my dad thought was good. So I would have like random like 10th year Jerry Rice cards that were $1. And I was like, this is sick because my dad loves this guy. And like, so like that was like, when you go back and look at my old collection, it's just like there is cool stuff from my dad and his childhood. But then you go to mine and you're like, you were a strange little man.
There's a lesson in that Nolan Ryan thing, given what we talked about before. And I just want to say this real quick. This is like for new collectors, right? To help you understand, like we all go through it. Evan and I used to think like when he had that, we'd Google that card, right? And it would be like anywhere from $5,000 to $250,000. So as young men, you go to, rather than the $5,000, you're going to the $250,000.
Automatically, right? I'm rich.
Right. And then we get it graded, or he gets it graded, and doesn't come back that way. So there's just sheer disappointment. But
it came back as a 4, and it's like $1,000 card. But I'll never sell it because it means a lot to me.
Right.
Now, if it came back a 9, and it was worth 2, really? Okay, all right, fair enough.
And
We're
my
talking
dad
six
would be,
figures.
if it came back at 9 and I said, hey, Dad, we have a PSA 9 Nolan Ryan card. The last one sold for $500,000. I know this means a lot to both of us, so I'm just going to keep it in my bedroom. He would probably call the police on me and say, you need to lock him up because there's something wrong with him.
I agree. Yeah, that'd be great.
But at the same time, I would not sell that Chris Farley poster. Even if somebody's like $500,000, I would say no. I'd say not a chance. That one, sorry, Dad, but that one means a little bit more.
Do you have anything like that, Doug, that's like potentially valuable or pretty cool, like novelty thing that you would never sell?
I think just with most of my collection, I don't go after cards that are very expensive, and I don't know if that's because they're expensive. Like my brain may look at a card that's expensive and go, oh, that's not that cool. Because I know I don't want to spend the money on it. So I just trick myself.
Yeah.
And like, really, the card's probably awesome, but I don't want to spend $2,000 on it. So I'm like, nah, it's not that cool. That's how my brain works. And so I don't really have a lot of valuable cards in my collection. I don't think there's anything that's worth more than maybe a couple $100. And so I'm in a good position where I don't need to sell anything.
Yeah. Like I like your Andre the Giant, like ice cream popsicle box cards, like that stuff. Like I really like that stuff too. Like it's just random, and it's so funny that when you look back, it's like those any way to sell a product, you just throw a card in there, and like that's how you're gonna sell it to like young men.
Yeah, and it's interesting again, just like the phone cards, like that's a time capsule, right? Like it's in the late 80s, there were ice cream trucks that would come around, and they would sell these Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, WWF superstar ice cream bars that actually look pretty good. I want to buy the advertisement and get it framed or whatever.
Oh, that'd be cool.
From the magazine, and just have like on display with the cards. But it's like a layer of cookie, a thick layer of vanilla ice cream, and then just like a thick layer of chocolate. It's almost like a Hershey bar on the bottom. And I'm like, that looks amazing. They brought back the WWE superstars a couple years back, but they're just ice cream sandwiches, and it's like, in my brain, that's not the same thing. But going back to that card though, again, I paid $15. I think 15. I might have paid 16 for that card on eBay. The same exact card is being some other guy has it listed for $475.
Right.
And I sent the guy a DM, saying like, hey, the card's worth 15. The box, because he has the box with it too. I'm like, that's pretty cool. So he has the box that it came in, and I'm like, hey, if the box is worth 15, the card's worth 15, and I offered 30, got declined, no, message back or anything. So I messaged him again, and I'm like, hey, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to like insult you, but I'm very interested in the card, and I'm willing to pay, reasonable comps for it based on what it last sold for. And I just didn't get a response. But that just goes back to the listing says, like rare 1980,
right.
88, whatever. And it's like, it doesn't matter if it's rare if I'm the only one that wants it. That's frustrating me, where I'm like, I want it now. Nobody else wants it. I feel like going back to Jonah Hill, another character, another movie ad, 40-Year-Old Virgin. He's standing in the sell it on eBay store, and he's got those sweet goldfish shoes. Yeah. And he's like, hey, like I want to buy these. Like, oh, well, you buy them online. Like, no, I have cash, and I'll just give them to you. And like, I don't know why you're making this difficult. Like, that's right. How I feel when I don't know, this might just be my brain, like having a little like, haha, gotcha. But I watch those cards. Like, there's cards that I will watch that are so overpriced, because I get a little bit of enjoyment when I get the notification on that pops up on my phone, like, hey, this card is now 50% off. It went from like $1,000 to $500. And I'm like, it's still ridiculously overpriced, but there's something that gives me a little bit of joy in knowing that person had marked down 50%. That's how grossly priced it was.
Yeah.
Stop overpricing cards in front of Doug's. He's gonna laugh at you when you have to cut him in half.
I will. It's just silly. It's like, just sell me the card. Just sell me the card. I'm offering what it's worth. I'm not even trying to lowball. And I'm like, I just bought the same card for $15. Like, that's.
Yeah. I like that
give
it's
me
not that rare if I'm the only one who wants it.
It's a good take.
Yeah, it's
Goes back to what we said earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like, just because you think it is doesn't mean it is.